Singing in the Darkness is like the plugged in experience.
Yeah.
And to me, it was like a very different everything. Mm-hmm. Did it feel that way to you? I mean, it's like your voice dropped, the palette of stories expanded. It was like a different artist all of a sudden. And it comes when you plug in.
I don't know if it was like a conscious decision to do that, but it definitely was different from what I always had been doing. I'd noticed it was these songs that I had made were very different from the other ones that I've made, and for that reason, I chose these ones to do the record with Danger Bird, because I have a bunch of other songs, but I don't know. These ones were just so like strange, kind of, and I liked that.
They also have characters walking through them. Like there's one. What's the name of the character? Easy Steve is just one reference, but they're like half stories sort of hidden in these songs. Where were those stories coming from?
I guess they weren't things that I always think about, but more just kind of images that are just kind of floating around in my subconscious. Like I would say Easy Steve is my idea of like a tourist around Gallup area, and things like that. I just kind of pulled. I didn't like set out to make a song about that, but it just kind of happened that way.
This album, the new one, Singing into Darkness, you're the whole shebang. You're on every instrument here.
Yeah.
When we were coming up in the elevator, you were talking about being at UNM and studying film, and then this music thing happened. I find that hard to believe if you've got all these instruments at your fingertips, and if you've been writing since you were 15 or younger. How does all this come together? Because on top of all of that, you're also an actor.
A little bit. I mean, I've been in stuff, but I wouldn't. It's pretty simple. Just kind of you just start out messing around on an instrument, and it's more of like building off of one another, kind of like just random.
And how many albums have you got now? Have you got 3? Or
I think
more?
I think Singing into Darkness will be my fifth album.
You're 21 or 20?
20.
You're 20, 5 albums in?
Yeah. My first album was kind of more just kind of a composite of a bunch of demos I had made in high school. I think I was a junior in high school.
You were a studio project all the way?
Yeah, I mean, I was just in high school. I lived in a boarding school, and so, it's not like I could go out and tour or anything like that. It's just kind of like my circle of friends were kind of the main ones who were like supporting me and all that. When
we bring artists on this show, we often get them at these really interesting times in their trajectory. Hataałii, with you, it seems like you are sort of unhindered by a lot of things as far as your creative process, but at the same time, you've signed to Danger Bird. You've got some people behind you. Were you just a very directed teenager from the very beginning?
I think I've always had like an idea of what I wanted to be ever since I was a little kid. I don't know if it's due to that. I can't say, but it's definitely been very interesting to see all of these things happen.
When it comes to how you play the guitar, I was trying to figure out what sort of chords you were going into and structures, and this is the second week in a row where we have an artist who is not going by the folk triads and the blues progressions and musically coming from somewhere else. Was this an aspect of being self-taught, or did you have a specific music you were trying to pursue in jazz or something that taught you this approach?
I am self-taught. I just kind of learned everything on YouTube. I would say my sound, I've always been kind of going for a certain sound with the chords. I think like good jazz music is definitely, it's definitely had its influence, but I don't know. It's not a certain sound. It's just whatever I think sounds nice, I guess. Can I play a chord for you?
I'd love to.
So like, I don't know what these chords are called. But these chords are like, I've been using these since maybe for the past 2 albums. And I think that's what people have started to associate me with, that, those, whatever that sound is, you know, like a softness or something.
And at the same time, your vocals have become gruffer and deeper as you've been going along.
Yeah, well, for this new record, I tried to use more like major chords and just, you know, I don't know. I didn't, but like I said, you know, I didn't really set out to do that. It just kind of happened like that. And so maybe it's like, maybe I'm just trying to reach for something different. But I've been making songs for like the past few months now, in the past weeks, and they're kind of in line with the softer songs again. So that's why I think the Singing Into Darkness is a little bit of like an anomaly in my timeline.
Do you want to tell other kinds of stories? And now that this record is out, and it's just coming out now, so you're just beginning to get the audience feedback. Are there new songs and new directions coming up?
Oh yeah, there's always songs. I try to make a song every day, but sometimes nowadays I think I'm just too lazy. But
I'm sorry, too lazy to write a new song every day. Okay.
Well, I used to be able to do it. You know, I used to be able to do like 3 songs a day. But now it's just kind of, I think it's also more of like a quality over quantity thing. And I'm just trying to, my goal is still to make good music that I like to make. And so, but to answer your question, it's you know, the sound is always changing, and every album is going to sound different from the last one, you know.
And that was the first release single from Singing Into Darkness, called Midnight Soldier from Hataałii. I'm going to give you the double spelling of his name. If you want to find him, he's shot a lot of videos for these and earlier songs and has a really interesting background you can find out on a search engine. And I'll give you the one spelling of the name, the one that comes up in search engines. It's Hataałii. Spelled Hataałii, pronounced Hataałii. You can also spell it in the more appropriate fashion, which is Hataa. And instead of that L, it is an L with an accent strike right over it, or a T with the crossbar tilted upward. If you know, I suppose if you know Diné signage or written Navajo, you would know exactly what looks like in print.